Welcome to KSJ-Bridging the Gap. This is Sarah. China's strict one-child policy, implemented for several decades, has caused the most serious gender imbalance in the world. Like most Asian countries, China has a traditional bias for sons. Many families abort female fetuses and abandon baby girls to ensure their only child is a son. So about 118 boys are born for every 100 girls, against the global average of 103 to 107. The imbalance started to go into effect around 2015, when those kids had by then grown up and had to get married. Researchers have warned that sex ratio imbalances could lead to instability as more men remain unmarried, raising the risks of antisocial and violent behaviors. Throughout history, such gender imbalance that can't be pacified by imports has led to social unrest and sometimes war. To deal with this crucial problem, according to James Lee, a former hedge fund manager who has 2 decades of experience investing in gaming industry in the United States and Hong Kong and has done research on this for several years, the CCP started to develop the gaming industry as well as social media live streaming, which is what started TikTok. The Chinese companies had state support and were extremely successful. There's a lot of precedent before TikTok. It's called live streaming. It's just the pretty girls doing nothing, doing their normal daily lives, and then they collect money for it. And a lot of very successful, profitable companies in China carry this out, Lee told the Epoch Times. Without this, he believes the social pressure inside China would have been very great. And at the same time, the CCP has accelerated the arrangements of its digital and AI surveillance network in order to closely monitor and censor Chinese people, prevent any potential social unrest in the country, and enhance its totalitarian control. By 2020, China has already installed over 570 million surveillance cameras, according to Foundation on Asia-Pacific Peace Studies, equal to 1 camera for every 2 residents. The Chinese regime has achieved full video coverage of all public areas through its Sharp Eye, Safe Cities, Skynet, and other projects. Every person who enters public space can be identified instantly by AI, matching them to an ocean of personal data collected, including their every text communication and their body's one-of-a-kind protein construction schema. Algorithms are able to stream together data points from a broad range of sources: travel records, friends and associates, reading habits, purchases, to predict political resistance before it happens. What's more, by making use of the epidemic, the CCP has expanded its surveillance across the country by installing cameras pointing directly at the front doors of people in quarantine and sometimes inside their home. In 2018, China had an estimated 200 million CCTV cameras. Apart from the face reading techniques, the CCTV system can also recognize other human features: their age, gender, ethnicity, and even the way they walk. And cameras have entered the classroom and the workplace too, in the name of monitoring students' concentration and learning, employees' mood, and productivity. But most important, the system will be used by the government to determine suspicious activities or behaviors. Now the CCP is able to achieve an unprecedented political stranglehold on more than 1 billion people. Big Brother is watching you. It's no longer an imagination from George Orwell's book 1984. It has become reality in China. Big Brother is watching you every minute, every second, everywhere. Not just in China, the CCP has had so much experience in making use of live streaming, social media, and gaming that they started to export it to the rest of the world and make it an offensive tool against the international liberal order. Let's take the gaming industry for example. With the rising adoption of virtual reality (VR) technology in the country, China is expected to account for a prominent share in the Asian-Pacific region. According to a report by Research and Markets, China's VR market may grow to $7.9 billion by 2021. Gamers live in the virtual world, Compared to the physical world we are in, the virtual world is called the metasphere, in which there are about 2.6 billion people who are real people from around the world that spend on average 1 hour or more there every single day. Most of them are kids as well as young people. More than 70% of the metasphere is controlled by Chinese entities. Those games and apps have been collecting a lot of metadata of citizens around the world, which allows the Chinese Communist Party to obtain information that's needed to control behavior, as well as a platform for censorship and propaganda. How? All the information the games and apps have collected are fed into the CCP's AI machines, which are mostly constrained by the data. The more data it obtains, the stronger the AI becomes. Think about it. Commercial social media is able to predict what you want before you even know it. Once the CCP controls the metadata as well as the channels themselves, they are able to tweak the human psyche via cyber war. We know TikTok and other social medias are actively censoring things that are not of their liking. Same in the metasphere. Genshin Impact players banned certain political terms from chat features, including Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Falun Gong. Blizzard banned a Hong Kong Hearthstone player who expressed support for the city's independence in a post-match interview. More broadly, the CCP requires Western publishers to form partnerships with China companies like Tencent and NetEase to gain access to China's large and growing gaming market. The same dynamics pushing Hollywood to hold its tongue on Beijing's abuses will increasingly affect Western firms hoping to earn money from Chinese gamers. The CCP is also using the metasphere to push its own propaganda. For instance, there are games where the Chinese non-dash line shows up. The non-dash line in the South China Sea is a territorial claim that has been ruled as illegal. But in these games, the Chinese-related characters are designed to be much stronger, representing the side of justice, a way to brainwash gamers unwittingly. The CCP's hold on the global video gaming market is the most pressing security vulnerability. It is using games to spread its soft power and collect data all over the world. Over the past 10 years, Chinese tech giant Tencent has invested in or outright acquired many of the world's largest video game companies, including Activision Blizzard, League of Legends maker Riot Games, Epic Games, Fortnite, Supercell, Clash of Clans, and the communications platform Discord. People spend far more time on CCP-backed video games than on other platforms. India banned Chinese mobile applications because they realized that apps were prejudicial to sovereignty and integrity of India, security of state and public order. However, as indicated by the Epoch Times, a ban by a single country isn't sufficient. The world needs to wake to the overwhelming CCP pervasiveness of the metasphere. China is in a grave shortage of US dollars right now, but they are still able to graze a lot of US dollars from Western investors who are not aware of the national security implications of investing into these Chinese companies, including tech companies and gaming companies. When more and more countries join the bans, not only the incremental metadata is cut off, and the propaganda and the censorship become less effective. In addition, the companies will not be able to raise US dollars anymore because investors will stop investing into companies that are facing political risk globally in the tough market. The best way for the world to fight back the CCP is to make sure these companies have zero growth or actually negative growth. KSJ Bridging the Gap. See you next time.